Rhiannon is making great progress with her horse Bailey. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to show you about the wonderful sport of jousting. Jousting is a sport of mounted knights in armor fighting each other with lances and swords. The first recorded jousting tournament took place in 1066, and this often deadly sport was very popular in Europe until the 1600s.
This is the 18th annual celebration of European history from the spread of medieval to Renaissance times. You can see everything from medieval knights to Baroque musketeers, but you can also see refined classical Shakespearean performers. We've got comedy, juggling, fire breathing. I'm constantly reminded, without a joust, we won't have such a crowd. At this particular event, people have commended the joust for their improvement and for putting on a lively stunt comedy show they've never seen before.
The team I work with is called Joustevolution, and we're a professional stunt team. We get up in the morning, take care of the horses, give them their morning ride, loosen them up, get them ready, and then we put on 3 performances throughout the day.
My lords and ladies, shall we begin this contest?
1 gaming show and then 2 full jousts with knights in armor.
A knight used quite a different range of horses just for his personal baggage. His biggest horse was called a destrier, which was his big, large war horse. During the wars, they used a bigger horse simply because it could pack a punch. When you're in sync with your horse, when you're in seat, you can drive your opponent to the ground. If you're out of your seat, he's going to take you to the ground.
In the horses, what we look for is temperament in the first place. They have to be calm enough to handle almost any situation that we can put them in, but they have to have enough desire to do a job. You can get the most laid-back horse, but if he doesn't want to run, that doesn't work for our show. And then if you can find one that's very pretty, it sure helps the show too.
I am a big guy, so my armor weighs approximately about 100 pounds. You add the shield, you add the lance, anything else. My horse, he's carrying about 350 pounds, maybe a little bit more, but he weighs 2,000 pounds, so it's not that bad. My horse is actually very solid, he's very quick, he's a little bit more agile than the average draft, a little bit more spirited. He's in his 4th week of jousting, so he's very new at this.
To start the show, the horse has to make an entrance, usually at a full gallop coming in, so that they have to be trained well enough that they will stop and not keep going, to the next county. And then throughout the show, they will tolerate all the fighting and the combat with the rider on top and screaming an audience. So they have to be able to take all of that input, handle it in stride, and do their jobs.
I'd never ridden before. I actually learned to ride and joust in 2 weeks, and now I've done it for 10 years. Jousting is a one-on-one contest. The word joust actually means one-on-one. 2 knights jousting each other in the lists with a lance, shield, in an attempt to knock each other or score points. You can score points by breaking your lance, by striking your opponent, or by driving them to the ground. Our shows are choreographed, but the violence is still very real. When I actually stand up on my horse, leap onto the other guy, there's no way to fake that. He takes my 350 pounds as I drive him into the ground. My opponent yesterday actually had to go to first aid twice. Why joust? That's a great question. We ask ourselves that, I think, every day, but it's almost like a lot of sports where the adrenaline gets you going, and I've had several other jobs in my life, and I can't remember one of them where they cheered when I entered.
That jousting and those games were a ball to watch, and I better get back to work and help Rhiannon with Bailey and his issues on the trail.